For 17 years, Stock Car Steel has been a leading materials supplier to the racing industry. We're proud they're a Motorsports content partner here at Race Chaser Online. The biggest names in NASCAR trust Stock Car Steel for raw materials such as carbon steel, chrome moly, DOM, aluminum, plastics, and much more. You can't build a race car without the basic materials, and Stock Car Steel is the place to get them. Don't forget to also visit Stock Car Steel's sister company, SRI Supplies, for racing and industry. SRI is the place to go for all your shop supply needs. Nuts, bolts, rivets, tapes, adhesives, cutting tools, chemicals, body shop supplies, paint shop supplies, lubricants, and more. A well-stocked race shop is a winning race shop, and the path to winning begins with 3 letters, SRI. For more information, visit stockcarsteel.com or SRI-supplies.com. Check them both out on Facebook or call them toll-free at 1-888-752-7272, 1-888-752-7272.
I'm Jacob Seelman.
And I'm Tom Baker.
You're listening to Speed 77 Radio,
Powered by Race Chaser Online.
We are your home for motorsports.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Motorsports Show. My name is Tom Baker. I am joined tonight by our normal producer, who is once again coming out from behind the glass to do a little substitute co-host duty, as he so capably does every Monday night right here on this same network on the Motorsports Madness Show. Jacob Seelman. Kyle Souza is under the weather tonight. We certainly hope that Kyle will feel better and rejoin us next Thursday night for the Stock Car Steel show. In the meantime, Jacob, welcome once again to the program. It is another Thursday night, and we are getting so close to the start of Speed Weeks and a whole lot of racing action down south.
Oh yes, we are, and I could not be more pumped for it. The World Series of Stock Car Racing at New Smyrna Speedway coming up here in just a couple of weeks, and it's got it all. If you're a short track motorsports fan, late models, modifieds, crate lates, pro trucks, you name it, they've probably got it running at New Smyrna here in a couple weeks' time. That's going to be the kickoff to Speed Weeks at the big track at the Daytona International Speedway. It's going to be fun, it's going to be exciting, and I can't wait to get it all started.
Lots of stuff going on tonight's show. 3 featured drivers tonight. We're going to hear from both Venturini Motors, or 2 of Venturini Motorsports ARCA racers, Justin Boston, and of course Brennan Poole as well, and we're going to hear from those 2 a little bit later on, but we're going to start with some short track late model action. Speed Fest took place this past weekend down in Georgia before Mother Nature decided to just get silly here over the last few days. Speed Fest for the Pro Late Models and the Super Late Models. And the Pro Late Model feature, the first one he's ever won, John Hunter Nemechek. And Jacob, this has been a long time coming for that young man.
Yes, it has been, Tom. It's been a long time coming for John Hunter. I was certainly very glad to hear that he was able to come away with the victory from the Pro Late Model portion of Speed Fest on Sunday afternoon, but boy did he have to work for it. He had to outduel Spencer Davis and Garrett Jones in the closing laps, and under normal circumstances, when we talk about green-white checker finishes, you hear us talk about NASCAR and go, 3 attempts and we're done. Well, we got to 3, and then we went to 4, and then we went to 5, and by the time it was all said and done, 6 attempts at a green-white checker finish later, John Hunter Nemechek was finally able to claim the checkered flag in triumph. He wins Speedfest 2014 over Spencer Davis in the 125-lap JEG CRA All-Star Tour Pro Late Model feature. In the Super Late Models, it was a familiar name to Super Late Model Racing taking the victory, Chase Elliott. Elliott scoring his second Super Late Model triumph hard-fought duel in the closing laps with NASCAR Camping World Truck Series regular Johnny Sauter. He and Sauter did make a little bit of contact late in the race, and Sauter ended up spinning and unable to challenge for the win, and from there it was all Chase Elliott. He cruises to victory lane, nabs his second Speedfest victory, joining a win from 2011. So Chase Elliott becoming a two-time winner at Speedfest. He's also got 3 of those Pro Late Model trophies to his credit as well, Tom. John Hunter actually snapping a streak of 3 straight wins by Chase Elliott in the Pro Late Model class, Elliott not running the Pro Late Model this year.
It is going to be very exciting to watch both Chase and John Hunter as they take the next steps in their NASCAR careers, but let's stay focused on Speedfest. You had a chance to catch up with John Hunter and talk to him about his big win. Let's hear it.
Jacob Seelman for Speed 77 Radio and RaceChaserOnline.com with last weekend's Speedfest Pro Late Model winner, John Hunter Nemechek out of Mooresville, North Carolina. John Hunter, as always, thank you for taking some time to talk with us, and certainly a big win for you guys this weekend at Speedfest. After a lot of close calls and hard knocks, you finally notched your first career late model victory in the 125-lap JEG CRA Tour event on Sunday afternoon. I know it's a breakthrough for you, and you finally prove all the naysayers wrong. How much did the win Sunday afternoon really do for you guys as a team?
It did a lot for us as a team. It showed that all of our hard work over the past year and being so close so many times that we could finally break through and win one. Our crew guys work as hard as anybody out there, and I can't thank them enough for doing it. But it's definitely a good feeling to get the monkey off of our back and be able to break through with that first win.
I know it didn't come easy, though. You guys sat on lap 123 for it seemed like an hour, and I think by the time it was all said and done, it was close to that. Something along the lines of 17 cautions overall and 6 green-white checkered attempts just to finally declare you the winner. How tough was it going green as many times as you did in the final laps and knowing if I can only make it around one lap, we'll be good, and then having to do it all over again?
Yeah, it was definitely getting frustrated after about the second or third time. We were trying to figure out why they weren't calling the race, because normally when you throw a white flag, if a caution comes out and the leader's taking the white flag, then the race is over. But it was definitely getting frustrated, but we had to keep our cool as a team and stay focused for the ones that were coming up. And it was definitely an experience. You had to be on your A game for each restart and be able to get out front and go and not get punted from behind.
I know it's a lot of different factors, but through most of the green-white checker scenarios, you had Spencer Davis on your outside. What was the battle like between the two of you over the final couple laps? Because I know both of you, being young guys trying to make it forward in the sport, I know both of you were fighting tooth and nail for it.
Yeah, we definitely had the better car there at the end. I think I saved a little bit more, and we had better tires than him, and even Garrett Jones there at the end before he had gotten wrecked. But it was definitely a good battle. Just restart after restart, you had to be on your A game, and if you weren't, they were going to make a move. So it was all about how you started the race and not getting hit from behind and getting punted out of the way.
How much momentum does this give you as a driver, knowing that you finally gotten that first late model win heading into this spring for your 2014 schedule, and even getting ready to gear up for the Camping World Truck Series starts as well that you've got coming this season?
It definitely gives us some momentum going into the next races, and just getting that first win off of our back. The first win is the hardest one to get, and it definitely has showed. And just knowing what we can do and what we're capable of now is definitely going to benefit us in the future.
And I know this isn't the last time we've seen you in the late model for 2014. Where can fans expect to see John Hunter Nemechek in the late model car as we go forward in the rest of 2014?
We'll be running quite a few late model races between the Southern Super Series, and the next race I think will be Greenville Pickens for the past South race the first week of March. So definitely going to be running a diverse schedule with many different series, but hopefully to win some more races in the Southern Super Series and show that we can.
And I know all these late model tours in the Southeast, as you mentioned, a very diverse schedule for you in 2014. Is it much of a struggle going from tour to tour as far as adapting to each different series as you get into it, or is it really just hop in the car and go racing?
There is quite a bit of a difference between the Pass South Tour and the Southern Super Series. There are definitely different styles of racing between the two different tire compounds that you race on each week and the different tracks that you go to. The Pass deal, you normally go to a little bit shorter racetracks and older racetracks where you have to save tires more, to where the Southern Super Series deal, there's a lot more competition, and you go to like Nashville Fairgrounds and bigger racetracks where you can race harder.
And I know you can't do it alone. I know there's a lot of people and supporters behind you help making it happen. Certainly one of the big ones being your dad, who came to meet you in Victory Lane after the checkered flag on Sunday. Talk a little bit about who makes it happen for John Hunter.
Yeah, I can't thank my dad enough for all the work that he's put in and everything that he's done for me up until this point. And he's been a great motivator and a great supporter, and he's taught me a lot over the years, and hopefully I'll keep learning from him. But even all the crew guys that were there this weekend, our relationships are definitely very good, and we communicate well, and it shows through on the racetrack. But I couldn't do it without our sponsors: Wood Pellet, GorillaUSA.com, DAV Constructors, SWM Gunrunner, McDonald's, Race Electronics, Wiley X, Bell Helmet, Simpson Racing. Just everyone that helps out, I can't thank them enough.
And I know we're looking forward to seeing you back on track here in just a couple weeks' time as 2014 really gets underway. John Hunter, congratulations again on a breakthrough win at Speedfest 2014, and we wish you all the best as you get set to head not only to Greenville Pickens, but towards your Camping World Truck Series schedule for 2014 as well.
Awesome. Thank you guys for having me.
Tom, I'll tell you what, for the monkey to finally be off John Hunter Nemechek's back, I can only see things going up from here, and as he said in the interview, a lot of momentum headed towards his Camping World Truck Series debut at Martinsville in just a couple of weeks. He's excited about where things are going, and while not a ton transfers from the late models over to the Camping World Truck Series, there is one thing in any racer's mind that does transfer, and that's positive momentum. And certainly now that they've got one, I know John Hunter told me after we were done recording that he was very excited about the next late model start that he's got on the docket at Greenville Pickens. He thinks now that they've opened the floodgates, it's just going to keep on going.
Well, yeah, momentum is definitely a very funny thing. No one can really ever put their finger on exactly why momentum tends to build, but you never again, John Hunter will never again get into a late model and go out onto the track thinking, I know I can. He will now be thinking, I did. So it's a little bit of a different mental state that you're in once you've actually conquered a mountain. It's much easier to conquer it again. It just seems like they tend to come a little easier after the first one. At least that's what you hope, and certainly John Hunter has been in contention in numerous late model races, has himself a championship already, so there's no reason why we won't see more wins from John Hunter in the late model division this year. And in terms of the truck, well, you know, John Hunter's already proven he can be competitive in that too. I mean, he had a good run, you know, at Martinsville this past year, and I believe he ran Phoenix as well, I'm pretty sure. So he certainly has a little bit of experience, and he's going to be really confident in that truck going into the season, and I would expect that we're going to just keep seeing John Hunter climb and climb and climb. He's an outstanding young man, very intelligent, listens very well, and he's certainly got the Nemechek driving talent. So I think that he's going to do just fine, and we'll be hearing a lot more from John Hunter on the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports show, I'm sure, as this season goes on as well. We're going to take our first break of the evening. When we come back, we're going to switch over to the ARCA side of things. We're going to hear from a couple of members of the Venturini Motorsports stable. We're going to hear from Justin Boston and Brennan Poole, both of them coming up after these words. You are listening to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show on Speed 77 Radio and Race Chaser Online. Stay with us.
For 17 years, Stock Car Steel has been a leading material supplier to the racing industry. We're proud they're a motorsports content partner here at Race Chaser Online. The biggest names in NASCAR trust Stock Car Steel for raw materials such as carbon steel, chrome moly, DOM, aluminum, plastics, and much more. You can't build a race car without the basic materials, and Stock Car Steel is the place to get them. Don't forget to also visit Stock Car Steel's sister company, SRI Supplies, for racing and industry. SRI is the place to go for all your shop supply needs. Nuts, bolts, rivets, tapes, adhesives, cutting tools, chemicals, body shop supplies, paint shop supplies, lubricants, and more. A well-stocked race shop is a winning race shop, and the path to winning begins with 3 letters, SRI. For more information, visit stockcarsteel.com or SRI-supplies.com. Check them both out on Facebook or call them toll-free at 1-888-752-7272, 1-888-752-7272.
Hi, this is Jamie McMurray here for RAD, the entertainment industry's voice for road safety. Want to make a difference? It's simple. Be responsible. Plan ahead. Designate before you celebrate. Friends don't let friends drive drunk.
Baby, you can drive my car. Yes, I'm gonna be a star.
A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
I'm Jacob Seelman.
And I'm Tom Baker,
You're listening to Speed 77 Radio.
powered by Race Chaser Online.
We are your home for motorsports.
Welcome back to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motor Show here on a Thursday night in Charlotte, North Carolina. Tom Baker with you along with Jacob Seelman. And Jacob, you mentioned, or we talked about earlier, that Speed Weeks is coming fast. We talked about some of the goings on the short track side of things in Florida. One of the first things that happens as far as longer distance races on the big track at Daytona every year is the ARCA race, and we are about to feature a couple of drivers who are going to be competing in that event, the first of which is Brennan Poole, and this is a driver who's had a tremendous amount of success in the late models and also in the ARCA series, and Brennan has also served as a bit of a coach at Venturini Motorsports as well, and a young man with a whole lot of talent and definitely a very bright future in this sport.
Yeah, he is, Tom, but let's correct one thing right here. Brennan actually will not be competing in this year's ARCA Racing Series event at Daytona. Venturini's bringing 5 cars down to Daytona Speed Weeks. The 15, a full season ride by John West Townley. The 25, going to be driven by Justin Boston, who we'll hear from a little bit later on in the program. The 35 car is still TBA at the moment, according to the ARCA entry list, but the rumors that we've heard suggest that likely Dylan Kwasniewski, who raced with Venturini Motorsports in the finale last October in Kansas, will be piloting that machine as he looks to get cleared to run the NASCAR Nationwide Series event for Turner Scott Motorsports. The 55 going to be piloted by Leilani Munter, and the number 66 returning to the Venturini Motorsports stable, Mark Thompson, actually coming back home to Venturini Motorsports, if you will. He's going to be driving that 66 car for Billy Venturini, but Brennan Poole going to be on top of the tower. I believe he will be spotting for Justin Boston during that event, so a tandem working together that we'll hear from on tonight's Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports show. But Brennan, as you said, an extremely bright talent in the motorsports and the stock car world, picked up 2 wins last year on the ARCA Tour. One of them, the biggest one that he told Billy Venturini at the start of his ARCA career he wanted to win at Michigan International Speedway, and then picked up a win on the dirt at the mile in Springfield. And that was a spectacular drive and actually a win that nobody expected, because he was the third car across the line after 2 cars ahead of him jumped the final restart. Poole was awarded the win, and he said that was a special event for him because he did come up on a dirt background. So Brennan Poole, very diverse, not just on the racetrack but off the racetrack, working as a spotter and a driver coach for Billy Venturini. Just a very, very diverse skill set.
Yeah, actually it is, and I was sure that he had said to me that he was racing this year in the 500 when I saw him last Friday. Yeah, Checkers game. I need to stop drinking Red Bull before I go do those appearances. Must have affected my focus, so my bad on that. But certainly, Brendan is going to be an excellent coach for Justin Boston or any other driver in the ARCA series that he works with, especially someone out of the Venturini group, because obviously he knows that team, knows the setups well, and understands what it takes to succeed at that level. So we definitely look forward to hearing from Brendan. Let's roll the tape.
Brennan, first off, thank you for taking some time to talk with us. Your ARCA campaign in 2013 was part-time, but you were working very consistently with the Venturini team. Picked up 2 wins, though, at Michigan and at the Mile Dirt in Springfield. Talk a little bit about your experience last year, not only behind the wheel, but also on top of the pit box as well, working with Billy Venturini and working with the other drivers as a part of the team.
Well, it was a lot of fun last year. I had to work with a lot of young guys and a lot of guys that were just starting to speedway with a lot of guys, and getting to work with Justin Boston. Him and I have become pretty good friends over the past year or so, and I was able to spot some of his races and try to go after some wins. And we got close a few times in the K&N race at Dover. That was exciting. It's just a lot of fun. Of course, I got to race some last year, which was pretty awesome. When I first came over to Venturini in 2011, Billy Venturini asked me, what would be one of the biggest races, that you would want to win. And I told him, well, last year, 2013, we were able to win there together. That was really exciting for me to dream come true. It's a big, fast track. It's one of the biggest auto races of the year. It was just a really exciting time. And then, of course, I have a dirt background. I've raced dirt my whole life growing up, and so being able to go to Springfield and win it's pretty special to win that cool race, the fairgrounds, the fairs on, there's concerts, people everywhere. It's just crazy. It was just a really cool experience, and I feel like I had a blessed year, and I'm definitely looking forward to 2014. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and shoot, man, Daytona's just right around the corner, and I'm excited about getting there and going to work and helping as many people as I can, and just trying to move forward with my career.
Looking ahead to 2014, like you said, Daytona coming up here just a couple weeks away now. You're going to be helping out the contingent of drivers that Venturini's got for Daytona, but I know you do want to get back behind the wheel again, too. What's 2014 shaping up to look like for you behind the wheel with Venturini's?
Well, with Venturini, it looks like I'm probably going to get to run a few races. I don't think I can say which ones yet, but I'm definitely really excited about it, and looking forward to it. And of course, I'm always working on trying to run some other stuff and some of the higher series. I've been running ARCA for a few years now, and I'm just trying to develop, myself as a driver, to learn as much as I can, and try to make that next step. So hopefully, I can do some more racing in 2014, and maybe move up and run some stuff. We'll just have to see. It's definitely something I would like to do. It just depends on sponsorship money and things like that, and teams, and just finding a home for me. Yeah, I definitely want to make sure that I'm around the right people, and just to make a good decision for me and my family and my future as a race car driver. But I'm definitely excited about the opportunities I'm going to have with Venturini. Everyone at Venturini is so awesome. It's a fan organization, from Big Bill to Kathy to her son Billy. It's just fun to be around the team every single weekend. I'm really looking forward to it. It's just fun racing with them. And at the end of the day, that's what racing's about. We're competitors. We're there to win races because that's what we enjoy doing. But at the same time, it's a family sport, and it's about having fun. And that's what I really enjoy about racing with them.
Talking a little bit about your background in racing, like you said, you had dirt background predominantly, but when you moved over to asphalt, one of the series where you really rewrote the record book, so to speak, was in the UARA Stars Tour. Claimed the championship in 2011 before moving on to the ARCA Racing Series in 2012 with Venturinis. What kind of impact did all the success you had over the last couple years have on your career, and did it surprise you at all when the announcement came out that UARA would not be running this year?
Well, UARA was big for me. Definitely taught me a lot. There were a lot of great guys that, running in that series at the time when I was there, and there have been great guys after me that there. Where sometimes I like to sneak on over to Hickory Motor Speedway and watch them and sit in the stands and just kind of enjoy myself and enjoy watching. It was so tough. Are so good. The cars, are so difficult to drive. They really makes you a race car driver and teaches you a lot. They're down on power. They're heavy. They don't have a big old tire on them. It just teaches you so much. It teaches you how to pass guys. It teaches you how to race. And if you guys 150 lap race, you don't get to pit or do anything. So it really kind of teaches you a lot of things that you need to move up to the next level. But for me, it was huge and a huge confidence boost. UAR is a huge deal. Winning those races is tough. It's not easy, and so for me to have done as well as I did, it gave me a lot of confidence. But I had a lot of great people around me when I was with Jamie Elton. I had an awesome crew chief, David King, a great spotter who taught me a lot and put me in a lot of positions to be able to win as much as we did win together. So, for me, I was just fortunate in that situation. But for Kerry and Wink, I know they love UAR, and I know they definitely want to come back. They're great people to be around. I think they have a great series that they ran. And for them not coming back, I know they had some things that they just have to deal with, and I hope to see them back in maybe next year or the following year after that. But I think it's a series that you almost need to have to run in if you're going to move up. I mean, that's just my opinion. I know everybody has their own opinions, but for me, it taught me so much. Just made me a much better race car driver. Yeah, I mean, when I moved up to run the ARCA races, I went straight from UARA to running an ARCA race, and I won in my debut start in ARCA at Salem Speedway, and I came right out of the UARA car. So for me, I think that's just something you just have to have that background.
Looking ahead, obviously, you're looking at a part-time schedule, at least with Venturini's on track. For 2014, you said you're looking at some other opportunities, but what kind of things has the off-track experience done for your career, working with the Venturini team as a spotter or on top of the pit box? What kind of things have you been able to glean from your time off-track, working within the organization, that has helped your career a little bit?
And it was really eye-opening the first time that I stepped up on the roof and was on the radio for somebody. You just are able to see so much. You get to see other guys, how they run certain races, I got to watch somebody who's extremely talented, in my opinion, with Corey LaJoy, and I got to watch, how he run the race from the roof, see everything. So it really just teaches you a lot. I got to watch guys like Ryan Blaney, and when you're up there and you get to see everything that they're doing, it just gives you another look on things. You really just see what they do with the cars and how they move around throughout the race, and you just kind of get to study almost for a little bit. And especially during practice, it's kind of fun. I think it was just kind of eye-opening. It taught me a lot. It's definitely a unique experience. It kind of gives you another look on things. And when you want to be really good at something, you have to have that experience at every level. It's you have to do every job on the team at some point or another to really be good at your job, so that to be able to be successful. So for me, it was just another job that I was able to do. I was able to learn something, and now I have a better understanding of what the spotters are having to deal with while they're going through a race while I'm in that race car. And it's just something really cool to kind of have in my pocket to say, I've done that. It's just kind of, a unique bond, too, you build with the driver. Driver and spotter are close, and they trust you up there. And so it's just kind of a cool feeling to have that. Won some races from the roof. I've won a couple races spotting and a couple races in the seat last year. So that was, it's just kind of cool to be able to have that.
You mentioned the bond that you build with the drivers, especially over there at Venturini. The race I think back to is actually the very first one you ran in 2013, where you and your teammate Justin Boston were going at it in the closing laps, and Justin, ultimately the two of you got together and Justin went for a spin there in the final laps. You went on to win that race, but what was the dynamic between you two like after that race? Because it was such a hard-fought battle between the two of you for that victory.
Well, just like in any time you're racing or any sport, at the end of the day, we're all competitors, and we're all out to try to win a race. Unfortunately, at that time, there was two teammates fighting for the win in the closing laps. I think there was 10, 12 laps to go, something like that, when it happened. So, we were just racing really hard to try to win. And two guys that been kind of close, battling hard, we're battling each other. We don't want to lose one another. On or off the racetrack. You should see it's a video game. It's intense. But, so I think, after the race, we both kind of understood that it kind of stunk that it happened that way. You never want to have an altercation on the track that, spins somebody out of the lead or something like that. But, that's the way the cards were dealt, and that's what they fell on that particular day. And, we just moved on from it and went on to the next race. I think, when I ran the dirt race at the coin, him and I were beating and banging and door slamming each other to the finish line, and he ended up just edging me out there. So we kind of joke about it, and we joke with each other all the time. But it's just racing. It's just how it goes sometimes. You're always going to be a competitor. You're always out to win the races, and we all have a job to do, and our job is to win races. So that's kind of what we fight for.
And you fought for it moving all the way from Texas to North Carolina to position yourself with the people that have helped make it happen for you. And I know there's a lot of those people that do help make it happen both on and off the racetrack. So I'm going to give you some space to give some shout-outs, but talk a little bit about who makes it happen for Brennan Poole.
Well, first and foremost, I want to say my family. They've always been able to support me and been there pushing me to the next level. And my dad hasn't missed a race in several years. He's always been there. So, for me, I would have to say that they've been my biggest influence. But the Venturini family has done a lot for me in the past years, and they've helped me to continue to grow as a race car driver and grow off and off the racetrack. So that's been a really fun journey for me. And then, of course, everyone that's been with me from the beginning, and there's always been a special someone that's always come on at the right time to teach me something, to make me better, to give me the next level. And for me, that's just been a blessing. And whether it's from quarter midgets with the Fitz fleet, to legend cars, to when I race late models with James Yelton, the timing has just always been right for me. And for that, I've always felt blessed and very thankful. And I'm just, grateful for the opportunities that I've been able to get. And I'm really looking forward to the next time I sit behind the wheel and to the next adventure with the next team or the next years or whatever it may be. I'm really looking forward to it, looking forward to growing more as a person. I'm still a young guy. I'm only 22 years old. So every day I'm learning and growing and trying to get better. And I'm always working and I'm continuing to work hard and try to get to that next step. So I've just been really fortunate to be blessed with a great family, blessed with great people around me that have always pushed me to the next level.
And I know you're looking forward to hopefully being able to make the step to that next level here in the coming years, Brennan. It's been a very, very interesting couple of years and very exciting couple of years watching you behind the wheel. Thank you for taking some time to talk with us. We wish you all the best in all your endeavors for 2014, both behind the wheel and behind the scenes with Venturini Motorsports, and look forward to seeing you at Daytona International Speedway here in just a couple weeks when Speed Weeks kicks off. We know you'll be down there.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. It's going to be a fun year, and I'm looking forward to it.
And Tommy used the word fun to describe the Daytona International Speedway ARCA race. I don't know if I'd exactly call it fun based on some of the moments that we've had the last couple of years, especially since his driver, Justin Boston, got collected in the nasty crash there about a quarter of the way through the Daytona ARCA event 1 year ago. I know they'll be looking to better that mark, and Brennan's looking forward to all the opportunities he's got with Billy Venturini and that entire operation this year. You can just hear how in tune he is with everything that's going on in that race shop and just how much he enjoys not just what he does behind the wheel, but what he does for all the other drivers who come through there as well.
Yeah, I think when he talks about it being fun, I mean, it's just the experience of being at Daytona And for a lot of these guys in the ARCA series, it's their first super speedway, or certainly their first time at Daytona, and these guys, a lot of times, they're 18, 19, 20 years old, and it's incredible to be at the speedway for the first time and be on the track and be in competition, and it's a wide open race. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of wrecks, and it usually takes out several cars. The attrition rate can be kind of high, but this is really the race of the year for these guys. And so I can see where he says fun. And, Brendan is a driver that he ransacked the UARA Star Series for a couple of years. He won a championship. I think he might have even had a second or third place in the points another year. But he won a couple of most popular driver awards, I think. I remember him. I think it was 2009 or 2010, one or another, going to Martinsville and finishing in the top 5. And that's when I said, okay, this kid's got some talent. He had some good people around him, and he just really has it together. This is a driver that if he gets the opportunity and really is able to get the right team and the right funding, everything in place, I think Brendan Poole has a chance Sprint Cup, and I hope he gets the chance, because he certainly has proven the ability, and he's a super nice young man as well. So one of the things that he mentioned, he talked about Wink and Kerry Bodenheimer and the UARA Stars Series. Jacob, unfortunately, we always hate making announcements like this. You never like to see a track go away or a series go away. The UARA Stars suspending its racing for the 2004 series. The series promoters, Wink and Kerry Bodenheimer, who are two of the hardest working people in the sport, period, and they've given up so much and given so much to build up the UARA Stars series, had to suspend due to some family being ill. Never like to see this sort of thing happen, and right now the last thing on anybody's mind is the series. Wink and Kerry just had so many friends in the sport and did so much for so many people that you really just think about them now, and you just pray for them and pray for their parents, and hopefully everything turns out okay.
Yeah, you do. That's all you can do. It's been a rough ride for them over the last couple weeks. Carrie's father, I know, did pass away on Monday, and we do send our sincere condolences along to both of them. And just, like you said, we hope for the best, and we hope that they can come back stronger in 2015. But we all say racing is secondary to family, and all of us in the industry are a family, so we're going to be supporting them through everything that's going on. And Brennan, I know, speaks for so many of the drivers who have come through that series when he said during the interview, he said, I want to see it come back because it was such a great tour when I ran it. And a lot of these guys who have gone through that series have said that, and I know are just wishing for all the best for Wink, Kerry, and the whole series, that come 2015, it'll be back and be twice as virile as it was before.
Absolutely. And with that, we take our second caution flag of the evening. When we come back, staying on the ARCA side, staying with Venturini Motorsports, driver Justin Boston, coming up in just a few moments. You're listening to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show on Speed 77 Radio and Race Chaser Online. Don't you go anywhere. We're not done yet.
For 17 years, Stock Car Steel has been a leading materials supplier to the racing industry. We're proud they're a motorsports content partner here at Race Chaser Online. The biggest names in NASCAR trust Stock Car Steel for raw materials such as carbon steel, chrome moly, DOM, aluminum, plastics, and much more. You can't build a race car without the basic materials, and Stock Car Steel is the place to get them. Don't forget to also visit Stock Car Steel's sister company, SRI Supplies, for racing and industry. SRI is the place to go for all your shop supply needs. Not nuts, bolts, rivets, tapes, adhesives, cutting tools, chemicals, body shop supplies, paint shop supplies, lubricants, and more. A well-stocked race shop is a winning race shop, and the path to winning begins with 3 letters, SRI. For more information, visit stockcarsteel.com or SRI-supplies.com. Check them both out on Facebook or call them toll-free at 1-888-752-7272, 1-888-752-7272.
Oh! You are round MVP.
Yeah, man. Yo, Drew, I finally got round MVP. Round MVP.
No way. That was some ownage. It's a good thing you got me as your wingman.
Right. You mean when you threw that flash grenade at me?
Whatever, man. Huge round. Seriously, great stuff.
Finally earning round MVP takes determination. So will getting into college. I've got what it takes.
All right, class. I'm going to pass back your tests. And a high score goes to Brian.
Oh, yeah. High score, baby.
We're all good at something. Maybe it's breakdancing or skateboarding or video games. Whatever you're good at, you have the skills to make it happen. And those same skills will help you get to college. Visit knowhowtogo.org to learn what you should be doing right now to prepare for college. Start taking the steps at knowhowtogo.org.
I've got what it takes. So do you.
Brought to you by the American Council on Education, Lumina Foundation, and the Ad Council.
Did you know that most teens who drink alcohol get it from people they know? Usually their friends or family members. But regardless of where they get it, alcohol puts teens at risk for injury, to themselves and to others. You can help make it a safe summer for the teens you know. Don't serve them alcohol. It's unsafe, it's illegal, and it's irresponsible. Find out more at don'tserveteens.gov. That's don'tserveteens.gov. A message from the Federal Trade Commission and this station.
I'm Jacob Seelman.
And I'm Tom Baker.
You're listening to Speed 77 Radio,
powered by Race Chaser Online.
We are your home for motorsports.
Welcome back to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show. Tom Baker along with Jacob Seelman coming to you live from the Queen City of Charlotte, North Carolina, the heart of NASCAR country. And we are talking motorsports here on a Thursday night in the South. A little bit of a chilly one, but at least fortunately the old man winter has disappeared from the area anyhow. We hope all of you in the north and west of us are doing okay with all of the winter weather that's been going on. We are going to head to our final segment here. We're going to be talking with Justin Boston, staying in the Venturini Motorsports stable. Justin getting ready for Daytona as well. And again, here's a young man coming through the late model ranks into the ARCA Series ranks and has shown plenty of capability to go farther in the sport if circumstances allow him to do so.
Absolutely, Tom. And Justin really showed some flashes of brilliance in 2013, contended for several wins on the ARCA Tour. The race that comes to my mind, and I actually talked about it during our last segment with Brennan Poole, was that race at Michigan where he and Brennan were duking it out with about 12 laps to go. The two of them get together. Justin spins out. Brennan wins the race. He did everything but win in 2013. He scored 2 pole awards on the year. He scored 16 top 10 finishes, finished third in points, won Rookie of the Year. He's got talent. There's no denying that, and he's got a great team behind him. I agree with you, Tom, when I say I think that he can go a very, very long way. And let's not discount the fact that when he ran the K&N Pro Series East race at Dover to round out the season, he dive-bombed 3 wide into turn 3 on a green-white checker, and I didn't think he nor Kyle Benjamin nor Austin Hill were going to make it out without a wad of sheet metal crumpled up in the wall in turns 3 and 4. Somehow they squeaked through. He didn't win that day, but I'll tell you what, he showed that he has got the drive to do whatever it takes.
Oh yes, Justin may have some issues, but pacificity is not one of them. He is not a passive driver. He is a very aggressive driver. He has no trouble going for the home run ball if he has to, and he's a lot of fun to watch. He's definitely in a good position position right now. Of course, Daytona's wide open anyway. There are a dozen or more of the guys and girls who are competing in this ARCA race at Daytona that can win this, because the ARCA cars down there, there are so many top-notch cars, and a lot of these drivers, and the way that this usually plays out, it's your typical super speedway kind of deal. But Justin is a driver that certainly has championship capability with the right situation around him, and definitely excited to see him getting the opportunity that he's getting. And of course, Zaloop, a good sponsor in the sport on the short track side, as well as for Justin, Zaloop doing a lot of stuff with Hickory Motor Speedway and having their racing series there. But Justin definitely is capable of being a champion. So looking forward to hearing what he had to say, and let's go ahead and key it up.
Jacob Seelman for Speed 77 Radio and RaceChaserOnline.com, sitting down for a special featured interview this afternoon with 2013 ARCA Racing Series Rookie of the Year and driver for Venturini Motorsports, Justin Boston. Justin, first off, thank you for taking some time to talk with us here this afternoon. You had a really incredible 2013 season, did everything but get to victory lane, scored Rookie of the Year, got a couple of poles, and scored 16 top 10 finishes in all over the course of your season. For a rookie year, did it meet or even exceed your expectations in 2013?
Well, yeah, first off, I want to thank you guys for bringing me on as well. It's an honor to come on here and talk to you guys. I feel like we met a lot of expectations, but there also was some that I didn't meet. I mean, it was really my rookie year in a stock car, period. I really didn't have many races under my belt until I got into the ARCA car. I mean, I had a lot of high expectations for myself, as I would in anything else I've been in throughout my career in racing, but I felt like we did a lot of good things last year, and I'm really excited to build upon that. And I think the big thing that I missed out on last year was getting some wins, and we were definitely fast enough to do it at a lot of places, but we just never got one. So I really plan on continuing the success we had last year, and I have a new crew chief this year, having Kevin Reed on board, and he had a lot of success last year in the 15 camp. They won a lot of races. So I'm really looking forward to working with him, and I think we're going to have a lot of really good results this year, especially with now that I've been to all these racetracks. All last year I was just learning all these new racetracks. So when I go back, I'm going to have at least one race under my belt, pretty much everywhere we go.
Looking at your background a little bit, as you mentioned, last year was really your rookie year in a stock car. You actually cut your teeth in motocross during the late 90s and early 2000s before you transitioned into stock cars. Talk a little bit about your background, because I know for a lot of guys, two wheels doesn't always translate to four when you're talking about guys who are trying to work their way up through the stock car ranks.
Yeah, there's been a lot of guys that have tried to come across, and not many of them have had success. And you look at guys like, not many people know that Jimmy Johnson started off on motocross, but he's one that started out when he was really young and transferred over. But you look at guys that come across, and the later they do it, it seems like the harder it is for them. But I feel like I had a really good opportunity to race when I was younger on two wheels, and I raced a lot, and I won Maryland State Championships. I won lots of races, and I got to race pretty much across the country, and it was a really good time of my life to get to go race on two wheels, but we felt like it was time for me to find something else with injury and other stuff like that. We just decided that it was time to find something else, and I discovered stock car racing, and basically just fell in love with the sport and went from there and started racing legend cars and moved up from there.
Getting ready to look at 2014, you mentioned him a little bit already, but you're going to be partnered with Kevin Reed, who last year crew chiefed on the 15 car and brought them to 6 victories. I know you've already been down to Daytona for the test session in advance of next month's season opener at Daytona. What's the dynamic been like between you and Kevin Reed so far as you get ready to work on 2014?
I feel like our dynamic's very good, honestly. We both want to win races, and we want to win the championship, plain and simple. And that's what we're going to plan on doing every week, going out there running the best we can, not making mistakes, and trying to eliminate the races that took us out of the championship last year. You look at Daytona and Talladega, we lost a lot of points there, and we didn't finish either one of those races. So You know, you can go down to Daytona. You can't win a championship there right away, but you sure as heck can lose it. And, you know, it's important if we're not going to be in a position to win there, to be in a position to finish the race on the lead lap and make sure we get as many points as possible, because the championship starts there. And when you don't have a chase format and you have all these guys like Frank Kimmel who competes pretty much, I think I heard a stat that he completed like every lap except 2 the past 2 years. So you got guys like that are so consistent, and we're just going to have to be as consistent, if not more, than them, and go for wins when they're there, and you know, see how it all shakes out. But Kevin and I are really looking forward to this next season with Loop on board, got the new sponsors. So I got Jayco Environmental that came on board for this year, and as well as REI, Recycling Equipment Incorporated, and they're both really excited about coming on board, and I'm excited to have them.
And I know last season a lot of fans saw the Zaloop brand on your race car. Talk a little bit about, though, your work with Zaloop and their company branding on your race car for the race fans out there who may not know exactly what the brand does across the country.
Their goal is to take all the computers, TVs, handheld phones, electric cables, all your accessories for your phones, and recycle it and use it again instead of sending it outside of the country. What they do is called end-of-life recycling, and they will take computers and disassemble them for their individual pieces and materials, and then they'll recycle it, and the materials will get reused. So they're not reselling. It's not a resale company where they try and fix up computers and then resell them. They're taking it and throwing it in a shredder and processing the raw materials the proper way and disposing of it properly so that it can be reused.
I know in addition to all your work on the racetrack, for those of your fans out there who follow you on social media, you do a lot of thrill-seeking, and you've got a lot of athleticism and extreme sports going on off the racetrack when you can find time to fit it into your schedule. Is it just about the natural adrenaline rush for you, no matter what you're doing?
I don't know what it is. Ever since I got on a dirt bike when I was young, it's just been one of those things where I've always tried to be good at a lot of things, and every time I find something new, it's been like I've tried to get good at it. So, I mean, there was a while where I wakeboarded very seriously when I wasn't racing cars. There was a couple of years where I transitioned between motocross and then down cars, and there's always been something that I've tried to be good at, and I just think it's a lot of fun, and if you do it the right way and don't go about it, and you make sure you're being safe about everything, there's nothing wrong with it. You look at guys like Travis Pastrana, he's a little bit more extreme than I am, but I definitely like to go out there and have some fun, that's for sure.
And I know you can't do it alone. A lot of supporters, you've already mentioned a few of them, that help make it happen for you for 2014. I'll give you some time to make your shout-outs. Talk a little bit about who makes it happen for Justin Boston.
Well, first off, I have a really strong family support system, and without them, you know, being behind me and helping me through everything throughout my life and all the years racing motocross and in cars, I mean, they're the ones that have really kept me even-keeled and level-headed and at my best. Without my family, I really couldn't make any of this happen. But to have Zaloop on board, and they're really believing in me to be the face of their company, it's a huge honor to carry their name. It's such a big deal for me personally to have them on board, and I'm really excited to have them on the Zaloop Camry for 2014. I've got Jayco Environmental that just came on board. REI, Rock and Roll Tequila did some stuff with us last year, and they're going to be back in this year, so I'm really fortunate to have them come on for a couple of races. Detour Sunglasses, I'm doing some sunglass projects with them. I'm really excited about that. That'll be coming out here in the next couple of months. Everybody else, I mean, Venturing Motorsports has been a huge help this past year. I mean, there's such a good race team to work with, and Billy and my buddy Brendan Poole has been such a huge help on getting me up to speed the past couple seasons. It's been a lot of work, but it's been a lot of fun as well.
And I know you're looking to transition that fun into 2014, possibly in the form of a championship. Justin, best of luck to you as the season gets ready to get started here in about 3 weeks' time at Daytona. Again, we appreciate you taking some time to talk with us here on the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports show, and look forward to seeing you on track at the World Center Racing on February 15th.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on. It's an honor.
And Tom, you gotta love Justin Boston's enthusiasm. For those fans, as we mentioned, who follow him on Facebook or Twitter, they'll see a lot of photos of Justin either wakeboarding or what he calls extreme sports. But he made the comment, he says, guys like Travis Pastrana, he's slightly crazier than I am out there.
Yeah, well, this Pastrana's a few fries short of a Happy Meal when it comes to that sort of thing. Travis is just a nut, but he's good at what he does. Yeah, that was really neat. I like if you haven't been to Justin Boston's website, we don't normally plug everybody's websites, but unless they do it for themselves. But I'm going to throw this one out just because I think it's so cool. It's JBoss Racing.com. I thought that just caught my eye when I went on it the other day. I happened to notice the domain JBoss Racing. Well, that's clever. Must be a nickname, and it's sort of when you think you listen to that interview with Justin, somehow the nickname JBoss just seems to fit.
Yeah, it really does, Tom. He's got the enthusiasm and he's got the tough guy attitude on track, but off track he's really fun loving. What you see is what you get with him, and just a lot of enthusiasm about 2014. You can't get this kid down for nothing. He's pumped up about running with Venturini Motorsports again, and as he told me once we cut the interview, he says, for a guy like me coming from Maryland to run stock cars, I've already accomplished more than we thought we were going to in my first year, and just looking forward to getting so much more accomplished in year 2.
Well, we certainly wish him the best, and he definitely, as we said, has the capability to really make his mark and win some races. I think that he will, and certainly to contend for a championship as we get into the season. So we wish Justin all the best in his upcoming ARCA season this year, and I'm sure we'll be talking more about him as the year goes on. Another young driver who is going to be heading for Daytona is Clint King. We actually had Clint on this show back in early December. Clint has since they've hired the crew chief, they've got the pull-down rig, they've got the shop organized, they've got a couple of cars built, they've got a couple of motors in place. They're ready to go, and they've tested at least once. They're ready to go to Smyrna and Daytona. Clint King, another young driver out of North Carolina here, who you're going to be hearing a lot about on the K&N Pro East side of things. So that was something that came across the wire here, that Clint has been testing and is ready to go. They will be competing at both Smyrna and Daytona. It is now official, and I know that you've got some other news items as well.
Yeah, I do, Tom, but to tie a little bow on Clint King, another Venturini Motorsports alumni. So that team doing a lot of great things. But I do have some news and notes from around the late model and modified world here to get ready to close the show tonight. First, out of the NASCAR late model ranks of news for the week, the Denny Hamlin Short Track Showdown. The last 2 years, it's been run at the Richmond International Raceway as a undercard event to the NASCAR Can-Am Pro Series East and Nationwide and Sprint Cup events at Richmond in April. That race will be going back to its roots. It will actually be going to Denny Hamlin's home track for the first time. The Short Track Showdown started at Southside Speedway back in 2008, and for the 7th running of the Denny Hamlin charity event, it will be moving to South Boston Speedway on April 24th. Love that 4/10 mile track in South Boston. That's the track that Denny Hamlin cut his teeth on. I've always wondered why he had never taken the charity race to South Boston before now, and I'm really excited to see some of the stars come out to South Boston on that Thursday night event to see if they can make it happen. We've seen Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Tony Stewart, C.E. Falk, all win the race. Kyle Busch actually the defending race winner of the Short Track Showdown. So it's always an all-star cast, and that's going to be an exciting event at South Boston.
Yeah, it really is. And I like this because, frankly, I thought the race at Richmond made it a little bit too much of a show rather than a race, and I like seeing it back on a short track, on a late model track. If somebody like a Tony Stewart or a Kyle Busch, of course Kyle runs a lot of late model races, but if one of those guys can come in and win on that track, then that's great. But I think this gives the late model regulars a lot more of an opportunity to compete for wins, and I think this is going to be a really, really exciting event this year. Looking forward to seeing how that turns out. So that's good to see it back at South Boston.
And actually, a little bit more late model news coming off the wire. We were talking about the Zaloop series. You mentioned it when we were talking about Justin Boston a little bit ago. Justin sponsors Zaloop, sponsoring a late model series at Hickory Motor Speedway over the last couple years. Kate Dollenbach, daughter of NASCAR Winston Cup Series driver and now analyst Wally Dollenbach Jr., going to be running the full Zaloop series for Lee Falk Racing. She's going to join teammate Brayton Hawes over there at Lee Falk for 2014, and that's an interesting pairing in my mind. The two of those drivers who have done, I'd say, a lot with a little. Not always had the results, but have had the speed to make things happen if they've had the breaks. And another one of those names just trying to, you see the lineages just continue to spill out here.
Yeah, well, no doubt. Waller knows a thing or two about a thing or two, so that's going to be interesting to see how this young lady does. Not real familiar with her background in the sport, but I know Wally had a couple of boys who were racing for a little while, but I'm not sure if they are anymore. So that'll be neat. That'll be something to bolster the Zaloop series a little bit. Certainly will be a good pairing, of course. Lee Falk's got a good operation there, and Brayton Hawes got to victory lane last year in the late model series, so certainly she'll be in good equipment.
Yeah, she will be. And this next bit of news, I could just see Kyle Souza sitting at home in front of his computer just grinding his teeth because I can smell he's just as frustrated at this one as I'm going to be. But looking at the 2014 NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour now, the Northern Mods, according to Ted Christopher, who has been in talks with several members of the media up there in the Northeast around Connecticut earlier this week, he said earlier this week his plans are still up in the air. He is in talks with a couple of teams, but he has got nothing solidified yet for 2014, which in my mind is just completely unreal. 42-time winner, won the championship in 2008. TC, just one of the all-star drivers of the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour, and the fact that a guy like Ted Christopher, guys like Mike Stefanik, who are out of rides when they've shown they can still be competitive, it just blows my mind, and unfortunately, gonna be a tough blow to the tour if it does end up losing both Stefanik and Christopher in the same offseason.
Well, there's just so much turbulence right now in the Wheel and Modified Tour, especially on the northern side in particular. A lot of change. There's some other series up there, like Honey Modified Racing Series and some other things going on. It's expensive to run the tour, and as much as if you're a car owner, you would love to have a Teddy Christopher or a Mike Stefanik in your car, at the end of the day, this is a business, and there aren't too many car owners that can foot the bill for a championship type tour run out of their pockets. So, it's tough when you're not. It's like anything else. If you're not bringing some dollars to the table, it's tough to find a ride, and it's tough for a car owner just to put a driver in, even though he knows the driver can win and run for a championship. It's just a very expensive proposition at this point. So we certainly hope that TC finds something. My understanding is that Mike Stefanik does not expect to compete at all in the 2014 season. He is not saying he's retiring, but just does not expect to be in competition. So we'll see what the future holds for two of the top drivers to ever sit in a NASCAR Wheel and Style Modified. But Both of them quite capable, perhaps maybe some special appearances or certain situational kind of things for either or both, but that is what we're looking at, is a season on the tour realistically right now without either of those two top shoes.
Yeah, and that's really tough. But you talk about top shoes, and there's another top shoe that will be running the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour in 2014, and that's Money Matt Hirschman. Matt going to be making the trek south for the World Series of Asphalt Racing at New Smyrna. He's going to be chasing the Tour Modified title over the week-long series of races, which ends with the Richie Evans Memorial Race, the final race of the World Series every year at New Smyrna. Hirschman got sidelined in that event a year ago after he actually broke his hand in a crash during the modified portion of the UNOH Battle at the Beach at Daytona a year ago. Coincidentally, this year, Hirschman, coming back to the World Series at New Smyrna, has said even though he will be down south, he will not be racing in the modified portion of the Battle at the Beach at Daytona. He wants to focus on New Smyrna and making sure he's in good contention to make a run at that Tour Points Championship over the week of racing at the half-mile oval in Smyrna Beach. Tom, Money Matt, when the money comes out, Matt Hirschman goes to play, and certainly the World Series at New Smyrna, always one of the big tour-type modified events every year, and Hirschman will be in contention, I'm sure, just as he's been over the last couple years.
You know, I can remember when I was a little kid back in the 70s and just starting to be exposed to some of the trades, like the Gator Racing News, and then later Speedway Scene and Ariado. And I would read about the New Smyrna series, the Speed Week series down in Florida, and you've got your Richie Evans and all those drivers. I learned pretty quickly that this was one of those times of year when it wasn't just the guys at the big track, it was the short tracks as well. And of course, back then, the super modifieds were running, I think it was Volusia where they ran for a while. But I've always known how big New Smyrna is. I can fully understand why Matt Hirschman would want to focus just on that series. That's an expensive deal to do if that's all you're doing, let alone trying to go and do the Daytona deal. Matt Hirschman is running to win and running to win the Tour. And Money Matt, I have the feeling, will be in contention all 9 nights or whatever, however long. I didn't even look to see how long the Smyrna series is this year. But certainly there's multiple races that I think Hirschman is going to be in the running every time out. He has got himself a great situation this year with the 52 car and his car, and it's just going to be, this is going to be a big season for Matt Hirschman, I think.
Yeah, it will be. And let's wrap up the show tonight with another announcement that came down from NASCAR this afternoon, and that was the announcement of the 2014 Drive for Diversity class, Tom. A little bit smaller program than it's been in previous years, but still featuring both K&M Pro Series drivers and NASCAR Whelen All-American Series late model drivers for 2014. The program in the K&N Series for this year highlighted by Daniel Suarez and Ryan Gifford, who both notched their first K&M Pro Series victories last year. Gifford picked up a big win at the Richmond International Raceway after a late race duel with Brett Moffitt. Daniel Suarez picked up a couple of victories, one really big one at Columbus Motor Speedway in Ohio last year. Sergio Pena returning to the Revolution Racing team for 2014. He scored 3 career East Series victories with the team and has a pair of top 10 finishes in the points as well before he went out to try and run the West Series last year. That deal went south partway through the season, but Pena back east side, and they're adding a rookie for 2014 in the form of Jay Beasley out of Las Vegas, ran at the Bull Ring in 2013, won the Super Late Model Track Championship over there, scored 8 victories, and was the Trailblazer Award winner, given every year in honor of Wendell Scott for a African-American or minority driver who has done a lot for the sport of stock car racing. So Jay Beasley, already with an impressive resume, going to be the rookie on the Rev Racing squad for the K&M Pro Series. And add to that quartet in the Whelen All-American late models, Paige Decker out of Wisconsin and Devin Amos, who ran Legends cars a lot of the year last year and ran a late model at Hickory Motor Speedway in the fall, running NASCAR-style late models for the team. And it's a 6-car lineup that I think has a lot of potential for 2014, as it does every year. We've seen a lot of success out of the program in the form of guys like Kyle Larson, Darrell Wallace Jr., and of course even Sergio Pena scoring some victories. This is a program that just continues to grow year after year, and you've got to think before too long they've finally broken the tier into the top 3 series, and I just think this is going to continue because you've got guys like Ryan Gifford, the Rocket, like Daniel Suarez, who are so talented and just need the right break. And I have a feeling if things roll their way this year that those breaks could be coming quicker and quicker with as much as we've seen this program expand over the past 2 or 3 years.
Oh, absolutely. And I think it's interesting that there actually is a smaller of the drivers than what they've had in the past, but certainly both Suarez and Ryan Gifford. I mean, I've been watching Ryan the Rocket. In fact, I gave him the nickname Rocket several years ago when I was announcing the go-kart races. He was competing in it on the dirt tracks in the Mid-South. I've been watching Ryan a long time, and this is a young man who definitely has all of the charisma and has all of the ability behind the wheel. He should be a sponsor's dream. Would be a great representative for any company. So I know far more about Ryan in terms of, what I know about him personally than I know about Suarez. But both of those drivers capable of winning races. And this is a neat deal for all of the drivers involved this year. And I think it's a good mixed group and should be fun to watch at the various levels for sure.
I think it will be, and I think it's also it's one of those moments of there's so much news on our plates, and we think we're going to squeeze it into 30 minutes, and then we get an hour, and now we're here at almost 75 minutes tonight of programming, but it's just, there's always so much to get to, and again, always enjoy coming on here on Thursday nights and talking late model modified and regional touring series news, Tom. I think it's going to be a very exciting speed weeks here coming up. I'm looking forward to it. I know you're looking forward to it. The short track action always precedes the action on the super speedway, and just one of those weeks of racing that you can't help if you've never been. You need to get down there at some point and see it, because it's not just a typical short track event. It's race to win, race hard every single night, no matter if you're on night 1 or night 9. Just an incredible 9 or 10 days of motorsports leading into the biggest weekend in American motorsports in the form, or rather in American stock car racing, in the form of the Daytona 500. Can't discount Indianapolis.
No doubt. And next week's show, next Thursday night, shaping up to be every bit a great show as this one has been in terms of featured drivers. We're going to be hearing from James Bickford from out of the West Coast. Of course, the name Bickford's synonymous with Jeff Gordon. Well, James Bickford going to on his way out of the shadow and certainly going to make his mark this year out west, the K&N Pro West Series. We're going to hear from Ben Rhodes, who's racing in the K&N Pro East Series this year. We're also going to be hearing from Reed Wilson next week. Reed is competing in the X1R Pro Cup Series, and Reed is going to be going into his second year of competition in that series. Reed has hooked up with a really cool cause that he is promoting, so we're going to talk with Reed specifically about what's going on with that, and we are trying our best to track down Ben Kennedy for next week's show as well. Spoke with Ben's PR director, Jessica Trippi, here earlier today, and trying our best. Ben is doing an internship right now for school up in Connecticut and has been very, busy with that. It is just taking up a lot of his time right now, but we're going to definitely try and catch up with Ben in the next couple of weeks anyway, and see if we can get to him before everything gets started down there for Speed Weeks, the Battle of the Beach. Of course, Ben competing for Turner Scott this year. So it's going to be a very interesting next show on Thursday night. We hope that you're all going to be able to join us, and we hope you'll pass the word along to all of your racing friends that the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports show airs every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time right here on Speed 77 Radio and Race Chaser Online. Until next Thursday, I want to thank Jacob Seelman for once again coming out from behind the glass and being such a big part of tonight's show. Certainly hope that Kyle Souza will feel better. We want to invite all of you to check out stockcarsteel.com and SRI-supplies.com and see all that they have to offer in the way of shop supplies and, of course, all of the metal and aluminum you need to build your race car with. We want to thank them for being such a big part of the show. Until Monday night, when Jacob and I return to Speed 77 Radio and Race Chaser Online for the Motorsports Madness Show, I am Tom Baker. Thank you very much for joining us. We wish you a fantastic racing weekend. Good night and God bless.